Hi, I'm Antonio Centeno. I'm the founder of Real Mint Real Style. Today, gentlemen, I'm going to be helping you go out there and purchase your first briefcase. I know a lot of you guys just graduated from college. Maybe you're transitioning out of the military. Maybe you just got your fancy MBA and you're heading off to New York City or Chicago. You want to look good when you transit to and from work. You want to, when you're commuting on that bus or you're over on the subway, you want to be able to protect your important documents. Guys, a briefcase, it's a great thing to own. But you're out there looking $100 to well over $1,000 for different types of briefcases, different styles, different sizes. How do you make a smart purchasing decision? Guys, in these 5 tips, I'm going to go into a lot of detail, but I can tell you over at Real Mint Real Style, I've got an article. I'm going to go into even more detail there. I've got actually 9 tips in the article. Today, I'm going to keep it a little bit simple, and I would love to hear from you guys down in the comments below. What tip did I miss? And did you go over and check out the article, and which of those ones did you enjoy? So make sure to go check it out. Okay, so the number 1 tip I can give a person when they're out there looking to purchase a good quality briefcase is to look at the quality of the materials used. The one I'm going to spend the most time talking about is leather. Yes, I know there are briefcases out there made from other materials that are not leather, but leather I find is the most common and is going to stand up to the test of time. But there's a wide variety of leathers out there. I'm going to talk about the 3 most common types you're going to see. So we're going to see full grain, we're going to see top grain, and we're going to see genuine leather. Now, understand that leather is obviously the skin of an animal, most likely cattle. And so full grain, if we start at the top of the spectrum, is oftentimes the highest quality. It's the most desired. And the reason being is it's oftentimes the most durable. Now, I'm saying oftentimes because there are variations. There are, depending on what type of animal and all this other stuff. But in general, if you find a full grain briefcase and it is priced pretty high, you check it out and it's very malleable, looks good, it's coming from a reputable dealer. These are going to be the briefcases that are going to cost anywhere from more than $500 to well over $1,000. And it's usually because of the materials used. They're going to have to take it from, so if you take a single hide, which can cost, well over $100. So just the cost of the materials can be $100 to $200 to go into this briefcase with the leather. Now, you don't always have to go with full grain. Full grain is great, very durable, but you can also look at top grain. What is top grain? That's where they've actually shaved off the top. You're going to actually get a bit of the corium. So the corium is, and it's actually pretty darn durable, but if you can imagine, it's going to have larger fibers. It's going to have to go through a treating process. It's oftentimes going to be a bit more malleable, softer. It will oftentimes be easily more penetrated by water. So not something that maybe is going to be as protective, but you're going to get a discount usually in price. And it's also going to make the bag look a little bit softer. Now I've got one example here. This is from the company Katie. They make good quality, very good value, entry-level bags. You can check them out. I'm going to link to them over there. This is a full grain. And I can tell this because it actually, I can see some of the blemishes. It needs some time to be broken in. So a lot of full grain, it's going to need to be broken in. Now this right here, this is a top grain. Much softer. I'll talk about the different styles here in a second. You're also going to see genuine leather, and this is even where they're going a little bit lower and there's probably not much of the top grain in that. Genuine leather, again, these terms are going to be all over. You're also going to see, and this is a 4th term, it's not truly a leather, it's fox or foss leather, however you want to pronounce that, basically fake leather. Now, fake leather is not leather. And for some people, like this bag right here, this is an attaché style case. One of my first cases I've ever owned. I bought it when I was in Ukraine back in, 2002. So that one's like 13 years old. I don't really use it much anymore, but that may be an option. I'm not going to, some of you guys are going to say, hey, Antonio, I can't believe you're recommending that. For your first briefcase, it's about experimentation and you finding something that you can actually work and use. So I talked about the different leathers. So that is the biggest That's the biggest driver of cost, gentlemen. So look at the leather. I personally recommend after you get your second, maybe third briefcase, that's when you go in and you spend the big money. Initially, look at a brand like Katie. They're decent value. They're on Amazon. They've got plenty of reviews. That is probably a good entry-level place to start. let's go to point number 2, which is the hardware. So the hardware is all the other components, the zipper, the buckles, all the other things like that. Understand that if they're spending good money on the leather, usually they're not going to skimp on the hardware. So the hardware is something that it can drive up the cost, especially if they start using lighter materials. Steel is very heavy. Titanium or aluminum, that's going to be more lighter weight, but it's going to cost more. You also want to be careful. So when you're looking at the bag, think about what you're going to be using it for. If you are going to be using it on a daily basis, be careful of zippers. They're simply going to fail more often than a buckle is. A buckle is going to last you, if it's made from a well-made leather, take care of the bag, I think it'll last you 100 years. So look at the hardware. That is the other indicator that will tell you good quality and how it's attached, so did they use rivets, things like that. So let's get into the third point, the style of the bag. I already showed you a couple styles. This is an attaché style. The traditional briefcase is hard, is going to basically have hard ends. The reason is you wanted to protect important papers. Nowadays that we're using, laptops, that's how most of the briefcases are being designed. And if you go back historic-wise, go to the 14th century. It started with a satchel. Then all of a sudden we got in about 1850s, 1900, we started getting into harder shaped briefcases. And now we're going back, funny enough, to messenger bags, satchels, things like that. Because, hey, we're carrying around these laptops and things need to be able to adjust to them. We're carrying around less paper. So that gives you an idea. But you want to choose the style that is right for you. This right here, it's a messenger bag style. This is specifically designed to be able to carry not just maybe some books, but really it's going to be about your laptop. So that's why it's got a light laptop sleeve. All of that goes into play. This technically is a briefcase. However, it's got backpack straps on it. You're going to see some of them. They are this is an example of a more classic style briefcase, a little bit harder, although it's not truly doesn't maintain its shape. So those are the styles. Now let's talk about the size. So I've got a good friend and he has a beautiful briefcase and he never uses it. You know why? It's way too big for his needs. He got it as a gift and it sits in his office. He's told me he's used it like twice over the last 10 years. It's beautiful. He loves it, but it's just way too big. So make sure you get the right size. In addition, I've talked about the hardware. I've talked about the leather. Understand that affects the weight and the overall size. Some of these bags, especially there are companies out there that maybe use very durable, heavy duty hardware, but it oversizes the bag. It makes it harder and heavier to carry. So make sure you pay all attention and you get something that is the right weight, is the right dimension for your needs. See what type of a laptop. That's why I love Amazon. And, again, you go check out Katie. They were the ones bringing you this video. And I really do appreciate how you can actually see the exact dimensions, how people are getting in there and telling you exactly what type laptop fits in there. Very important for your needs. Point number 5 is your lifestyle. So if you live in an urban area, and you want something that is just going to look slick, you're in New York City, you're out in Los Angeles, you want something that is going to have maybe be in black. If you're in a more rural area, perhaps you're like me, I live in Wittenberg, Wisconsin, and the big city next to me is Wausau, Wisconsin. The other big city is Green Bay, Wisconsin, which has only 103,000 people. So I can go for a much more, I would say, rugged type of look. Usually the lighter color of the briefcase, it's going to also be able to show up stains or other scratches, which to me, if you take care of it and you condition it, which I'll be getting to in another video, I really like that look, but you're probably going to want to go with something darker, maybe even in black if you live in a city. But it all depends on your lifestyle. So those are the 5 points. I go into 4 more in the article over at Real Men Real Style. If you want a great value, again, go check out Katie. They've given me some of these bags. I think it's a good company, a good value bag. Let me know what you guys thought about this in the comments and what is your favorite type of briefcase. I'll see you in the comments, gentlemen. Take care. Bye.